Okay, all set.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Julie Brownlee, Principal Assessor for the town of Northborough, Massachusetts. This is an open meeting of the Northborough Board of Assessors being conducted remotely consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of June 16, 2021, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency. All members of the Board of Assessors are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order allows the Board of Assessors to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. The public is encouraged to follow along using the agenda posted on the town's website. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream of this meeting may do so by going to Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed on the agenda. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. Board of Assessor members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Bruce Morgan.
Here.
Christopher Reedy.
Here.
Assessors Department staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Tiffany Peters, Assessor Assistant. Brian Fernandez, Assessor Data Collector.
Here.
Okay. So I will entertain a motion to call the meeting to order, please.
So moved. Second.
All in favor, Bruce?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Julie, aye. And so we just need, the first order of business is simply if you've had a chance to look at the minutes from August 31st.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great. Then I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
So moved. Second.
All in favor, Bruce?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Julie, aye. And the second topic on the agenda is to let New England Football Club. We've denied your application for exemption, and so you've asked to talk further to us, and this is your opportunity.
Well, thank you very much, members of the board. My name is Rich Bowen. I'm the attorney for the New England Football Club. Brian Mazer is with us here on the line as well. Brian is in charge of the club, and we hope to just have a little chat about the operations of the club and perhaps some of the reasons why the application was denied. And I guess in that regard, you were kind enough to let us know that you felt that perhaps the Lancaster case was the controlling law on it. And I believe that we had gotten, I'll call it a full written decision a few weeks ago that cited the Lancaster case. So I thought perhaps if it was value to the Board of Assessors, that Brian and I could go through the Lancaster case and tell you where I think that the New England Football Club differs from the fact pattern in the Lancaster case and why we think that the exemption should be allowed, unlike the case in Lancaster. So with your permission, I'll
Absolutely.
go ahead.
Sure.
Oh, thank you. I'd have to say that, were I in receipt of an application for an exemption such as the one that the New England Football Club has put forward, my starting point for this particular set of facts probably would have been the Lancaster case. And the thing that really comes across in Lancaster is the sort of single nature of the manner of organization of the Massachusetts Youth Soccer Association. The Appellate Tax Board commissioners in their report repeatedly go right to the issue of education. And while they, are very careful not to denigrate the good purposes that may be being served by the Mass Youth Soccer Association, the one thing that the commissioners, I think, make it about as they say it about as strongly as I've ever read it in a case, that the thing that was completely absent was an educational component for the Mass Youth Soccer Association. So when it must have been kind of an interesting case to follow if you were there watching the trial, although I suspect a lot of it was just put in straight on papers. A lot of the documents that were put forward to the ATB dealt with really with the regulatory aspect of the association. The association is more like Brian, what's the best way of putting it?
Yeah, I define them as a governing body.
Yeah. And, they were like a certifying body. They were approving coaches, making fields available, organizing schedules, but they were acting more in a capacity as a governing authority rather than as an educational body. And it's the complete absence of an educational component that really comes through in the Lancaster case. And I think that's where we are in a very different situation. For starters, in the Articles of Organization, it's very clear that one of the primary purposes, I'd say one of the two primary purposes of the group is education. And in furtherance of that charter, Brian, why don't you tell the assessors a little bit about the football club's educational programs?
Sure. Just a little bit of history here. So our members actually do register with Mass Youth Soccer Association. They provide things like insurance. So again, they're a governing body for recreational and what's called premier club soccer throughout the state of Massachusetts. So NESC is a club. It's not a governing body. So we have families and players that register to play with us. And then we register them with Mass Youth Soccer Association. So Mass Youth Soccer Association deals with things like insurance. It deals with things like field rentals. They provide a licensure program for certain coaches. They don't do any education for players. So I'd say in the coaches side, they do often licenses. They have people on staff that do provide coaches, licensures, as I mentioned, but it's really different than what we do. So our major purpose is twofold. I mean, our number one purpose is developing players to play the game. And to play the game requires a whole variety of things that I'll talk about in a second. And then to do that, we have to train our coaches to be able to do that. So we have, I'd say, two educational functions. I mean, one is training for our staff. We have 45 full-time staff members. And they get a whole array of different training. We train them bi-weekly. We have had a relationship with a European club called Tottenham Hotspurs, which is one of the top European clubs. And they provided coaches education. Coaches education is a variety of things. It's nutrition, it's leadership, it's dealing with pressures of players on the field. And they did, for the last 3 years, we've had a relationship with them. It ended really because of the pandemic this past year. It just got too difficult to do that with the restrictions of it being able to do that only virtually. So we're now in negotiations with another club to provide that coaches education to our coaches. We also, on a bi-weekly basis, we train our coaches, bringing in guest speakers, both from professional clubs, as well as people we know around the world, to train them to be more professional in delivering curriculum and delivering the programs they do to our players. But I think the area that we differ most on from MYSA is in the education for our players. We provide direct education to our players. You know, one of the things we're excited about this facility in Northborough is we have classrooms. We have a video analysis room. You know, we spent over $100,000 bringing in video equipment to help high school juniors and seniors primarily, but also on the female side, freshmen and sophomore, in terms of getting their prerequisite skills to work their way through the college process. We have probably over 50 to 75 players who play in college, who get scholarships both at prep schools as well as at the college level. And these are opportunities they would not have if we weren't available to provide those opportunities. But specifically in the classrooms, our topics are things like leadership. We bring in a person for 6 weeks, and they're training our teams on subjects such as leadership. We do a variety of college prep programs for our players and families. Many of our families, this will be their first one in the family to go to college. They don't know how to work their way through the process in terms of both application and financial need. So we help them with that. As well as health and nutrition. We have a specific program on female empowerment. It's called NEFSHE, where we're providing workshops and programs for the women in our program that they're really not getting anywhere else. So I think the education component we do is a little unique. I don't think many clubs in Massachusetts do exactly what we do. Matter of fact, I know there probably aren't any that do exactly what we do. But I've been involved with the club really since it went to a non-for-profit over 15 years ago. And my goal has been equal in terms of charitable intent, allowing families who could not afford to play with our club to have that ability to both go to prep schools so they get a good education, to go to colleges, as well as to help them to be seen and recruited to play at a collegiate level. So that's me, my thumbnail sketch. I don't know if that's helpful, but.
Thanks, Brian. So I think that you can clearly see the difference between what an umbrella organizing body like the Mass Youth Soccer Association had. You can see the difference between that and what we have. And when the ATB denied their application or reaffirmed the denial of the application, it itself was focused on the very limited nature of what that group did. What we do is considerably broader. We're not acting as an umbrella organization for a whole bunch of leagues. We are individual focused, trying to improve the individual's spirit and education through sport. We're not trying to run a league. We're just doing something completely different. And that's why, would respectfully request that the assessors reconsider their position on this. I certainly understand how the Lancaster case would have been the go-to resource, but I would hope that as hopefully we've answered some of your questions, or as we might be able to answer other questions that you might have about the organization, you'll see that what we're doing is significantly different and I would say worthy of being recognized as a charitable activity.
I'm going to defer to Bruce Morgan, who worked as a contractor in Lancaster, where I'm not sure of the name, the FC Stars do pay real estate taxes on their property, and he's dealt with that there.
And I was there when the MISA thing happened, which was pretty interesting. So I think that, again, I look at your articles of organization and the purpose of the corporation, and I don't see any language that, yes, the word education is there, but training, education, and competition in soccer to youth players. And I have difficulty seeing that as charitable. Obviously education is a big part of soccer training. But I don't see how training soccer players is a charitable endeavor unless there was some very specific language about you're reaching out to to people in need, and I don't see any of that anywhere. I don't really see it prominently on your website when I've visited that. And Julia, I'm sorry, I don't remember. I thought there was a request at some point for information on how many kids are paying full freight, whatever that might be.
No, we hadn't gotten to asking that.
We never got there. And you know, what the number of kids are who are paying full freight, what kids are getting some help. So we would have a fuller picture to at least even consider that there's a true charitable component. So that would be, again, I'm all for soccer. I'm in my 15th year of coaching, and from the little munchkins to high school kids, and right now I'm in the middle there. I got 10 and 11-year-olds. So I get it. I love it. I'm a big Harry Kane guy. That's the Spurs #1 star. But I feel like the burden is on you, as you know, by law. And I'd like to see more real information about how you think you are a charitable organization, because having $100,000 in video equipment, and I would guess that the players, that a lot of the players, most of the players are paying full freight, and I would guess it's not a cheap place to be on a seasonal or annual basis. And so those are questions I have that I think go right back on you.
I'd be happy to add to those questions if I can, or address them.
Brian, please.
Okay. So again, I'm the president of NESC. I've been here for 15 years. I think what's unique about us is probably because of my approach to it. We started a needs-based scholarship program, which is really targeted to the SNAP program with the state. So family of 4 would need to earn under $42,000 to qualify. They need to turn in their tax returns. And we have that program. There's probably, I'd say this year, it's about 75 players who are playing for us who would not be able to afford to play for us if we didn't have that program. We'll spend this year somewhere around $200,000 in that program. And that's through sponsorships as well as just money that we've raised to pay for the program. So that's one, I'd say, direct program that benefits families in need. That's documented.
So they pay a percentage instead of.
Yeah, good question. So we cover 75% of the registration fee. They have to pay 25%. The reason we did that is we wanted everybody to have some skin in the game. We found if people are paying within 100%, there's no commitment of these families to have the kids play. So
Sure.
That seems to work well. And of these families, 100% of them are paying the 25%. So they figured out how to make that work. And again, some of these are way below the poverty level in terms of these families. We also, 4 years ago, started an inner city program. So we're in, I believe it's 9 inner cities. These are clearly areas of need. So in places like Brockton, Chelsea, we're in Rhode Island, in Central Falls. So there's a variety of different places. And what we're doing there is we're working with the local communities in those areas, both providing training, providing showcase tournaments where they don't pay any money to showcase their players. And we're spending somewhere around $50,000 to $75,000 a year. And there's over 450 players who are benefiting from that in the inner city program. A variety of those programs have worked out really well. We've had a number of kids go through the program and now are getting scholarships into prep schools because they're getting seen at our showcases. That leads to another program, which I'm really excited about. We started last year. It's a college mentoring program. So it's people that have gone through our program who have now graduated from college, who are in professional roles, and they're mentoring kids in our program who don't know anything about the college process and how to work their way through that. So we're having actual players who've been through or who've been successful mentoring these kids. And a lot of times the families, either English isn't their first language or the necessity of college isn't understood. So we put together a bunch of videotapes. We paid, I think it was like $8,000 for videotapes that were shown to members. Currently, these are mostly, again, sophomores, juniors, and seniors in the club, And we're having these kids that graduate from the program, mentoring kids going through the program. So I think your question about FC Stars is a good one. I guarantee you, if you looked at the case, they're not doing any of the programs I'm describing. And I think we are very unique in that way.
Can we complete the picture? How many kids are paying full freight and what is that cost?
Yeah, so there's a total, including the numbers I gave you, about 2,000 players that play for us throughout New Hampshire, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. The fees range depending on the age, the level, location, but probably an average fee is somewhere around $2,000, I'd say.
And is that for a calendar year or a school year, or what is it?
Yeah, that's for 3 seasons. So it's fall, winter, spring. So it's about 9 to 10 months of playing. The other thing I'll mention we also do is we offer free programming for kids at the younger ages. So they're not paying anything, and we training them twice a week for those 3 seasons. And then in the other places where we've done this, we also offer discounting rates in terms of field usage for the local towns. So for example, in the town of Mendon, their recreational programs are using the fields at half the cost of what we charge internally. And the other thing I'll mention, the other thing I'll mention is I don't take a salary. I get paid $0 for all this fun I'm having. So I do have charitable intent. You can take that as you'd like. I've been on the boards of a variety of different non-for-profit organizations, and I know we do a charitable intent, but obviously, you're gonna have to make your own decisions.
Yeah. So again, the numbers just for kids, 2,000 players, 75 are getting the scholarships at 75% off.
Yeah, and then I said over 450 in the inner city program. And then not including those numbers is about 1,000 players that are playing for free for us on this programming. Again, most of these are younger kids, but they're training twice a week with our staff for the 3 seasons. No, let me correct that. They're training fall and spring for free. We do have a minor fee for them in the winter session just because our fees are so high.
You got to pay the heat.
That is
Even
true.
though those, I spent many a night in those. I call them big refrigerators, but at least they're better than being outside.
It's true.
Okay. Julie or Chris, any questions?
No, I'd be interested in seeing some of that if it's possible at all, Brian. I've scribbled it down, but if an email wouldn't be too much trouble, just giving that a little more of a summary, I'd appreciate that.
Brian, could you pull that together?
Sure, I'd be happy to. And also just one of the other comments is you've been through our website and didn't see much in charitable. There's a link on our website that goes to our charitable giving. It's called NESC Giving. I think you'll see a pretty good description in terms of programs we run in the charitable side.
Okay.
I took a quick
We
look
also
at
have-
it, and it was
also have
set many weeks ago. So
Yeah, no worries. We also have a full-time philanthropy director, and her total role is in the area that we're talking about, is in terms of the charitable side.
Okay.
yeah. All right. I don't really have, I think that, this mainly, so one thing is that this is these processes of challenging values, filing abatements, appellate tax board and all of it, it's all sort of a continuous flow. And once you've been denied, if you want to pursue further, you have to file with the appellate tax board. There is a pretty modest fee that goes with that, but you have to do that. The board, any board of assessors can't further negotiate with you until that has been done, and then negotiating or adjusting things, however you want to see it, can go on all the way up until the minute a decision is released by the appellate tax board, 2 years down the road. So this is sort of a fluid, ongoing thing. It does have that one other step But, we want to get it right. We want to make sure people who are supposed to pay taxes pay them, and those who aren't don't. And so, and again, the way the structure is that it's basically ongoing discussions are encouraged at the state level. So I would also be interested if you know any other organizations who are soccer organizations or at least sports that are tax exempt in Massachusetts. We don't know.
That seem comparable to yours in their level of charity,
Right.
Not that, that we would look on favorably.
Yeah.
Rich, I thought you mentioned something about a recent case or something at the beginning of this. Did I mishear something?
I wanted to say, I thought there was one in Newton, but I'll have to go back and take a look.
Okay.
If I dig it out, I'll send it to you. In terms of process, we understand that the obligation is on us, and we wanted to, just really chat about it. I've been doing appellate tax board work for 35 years. In fact, I'm sure when I was a partner at Copeland and Page, I probably represented your board at some point. So I understand that, sort of to revive your jurisdiction over this, we would have to file at the appellate tax board. But before we did something like that, because doing something like that without at least reaching out and, just trying to let you know what it is that we were trying to do, we didn't want to come across as hostile. You are our home. So, we want to reach out and talk.
Absolutely.
And give you any information that you think you need.
Absolutely. That's how we feel too. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. And Rich, I certainly know your name. I just don't believe we've ever met, but I as soon as I saw your name, I recognized it. I've certainly testified in front of the appellate tax board many times for multiple communities as a consultant and as an assessor. It's an interesting place to be.
I think, personally, I've always found it to be a lot of fun. But that's just me, I guess. And it's probably easier being the lawyer than the witness. I mean, the things that we rotten lawyers put expert witnesses through, my gosh, my hat's off to them.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. All right. I don't really, again, we're sort of information gathering to on this sort of ongoing process. And I think it would, as Chris said, I've taken several notes here, but it'd be great to have a summary from you, see how they compare. And anything else that comes to mind for you to lend credence to your claim, your position. Again, I think what you're doing, it sounds like a pretty interesting place to me. And one of my older kids played college soccer, and it's a big part of my world since the mid 90s. So I appreciate what you're doing, but again, we have we've taken an oath to protect the taxpayers of the town of Northborough, and to be fair and equitable to everyone, whether they're taxed, and that includes whether they're taxed or not taxed. So we take that seriously. Julie has been our fearless leader for the past year or a little more now, and we are, it's a never-ending. There's always new stories, different stories, different twists on things. And Julie mentioned FC Stars. I just know someone who's worked for them for a long, long time, and they've got quite a facility in Lancaster. I don't know if you know it.
Oh yeah.
The MIAA used their their primary field for high school playoffs at night.
Yep.
So they've got that kind of parking. They've got the full lights. They've got a beautiful complex there, and they're paying full taxes to the town of Lancaster.
Yep.
I don't know if they claim to be an educational group. I haven't pursued it that far. I don't know what their articles of organization look like. I just haven't taken that far yet because we're all busy. We all have a lot to do, and there's only so far to take these things until they keep developing. And so if you know of any other, as Julie said, the most similar possible to you, and it could be the other kind of football, it could be American football. I don't think we need to stay within soccer, but soccer is certainly it's the big player these days in the world of kids sports like this. I think it's much to the chagrin of the classic old baseball people and such. And lacrosse has certainly been an up and coming sport for the past 20 odd years now, but I think soccer's the big player. So, but we'll take another sports clubs, position, and if they've proven their case somewhere.
We can look. I'm not aware of many soccer organizations that have their own facilities. Many of them just rent facilities.
Yeah.
I do know the FC Stars extremely well. I think if you look at their 990 and look at what the comparable person to me gets paid and their staff gets paid and the way they operate, I think you'll see a little bit different in terms of that.
And again, I haven't even called the guy I know because I haven't gotten that far, but I would be happy to touch base with him. I haven't talked to him since COVID probably. But again, most of the homework we ask you to do. This is on you more than on us.
Does the 990 that you turned in, does it break down number of players and charitable stuff, or I'm not really read it carefully?
It talks about our programs in general. I don't think it breaks down the details
Okay.
of it, however.
Okay,
I mean, obviously the 990 serves a different purpose.
right,
Yeah.
right. Okay. All right, well, it was really great to meet both of you.
Oh, thank you for letting us visit.
All right.
Julie,
Yeah,
if I
thanks for coming
may,
to talk to us.
using you as the principal contact,
Of course,
Uh,
yes.
get information to you. And if you feel that anything we send doesn't answer a question or requires elaboration, just let me know and we'll try to get you anything you think you need.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you very
Well, thank
much.
you so much.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
Nice to meet you both. Thank you.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
I appreciate it.
All right. They don't want to stay for all this other exciting business.
Well, that's three of us.
Are you hurt? Are you hurt, Bruce? Okay, let's
If
see.
they want to butter us up with how important we are,
First thing out of the gate.
Okay,
dinner time.
moving on to the next items of business. We do not have any motor vehicle abatements this time.
Nice.
And however, we do have one other thing on the agenda and one thing I need to add. So there's some chapter land that's been in the town since the 90s and was originally owned by somebody's dad, and Cynthia Fawcett has owned it for a long time. And she is we were giving about 6 acres of chapter land tax relief for all the time that I've been here before. The originally started out as like 49 acres a million years ago. But anyway, so she has taken out 2 parcels and is not going to have the chapter land status anymore. One of them is up for sale but has not sold, so that will just be charged as chapter 59 going forward from fiscal 22. The other parcel, she just sold and she did the whole purchase and sale, right of first refusal, and none of the town departments or committees opted to keep it. So that sale is going through this week, and I would like to, so with the help of both Brian and Tiffany and all their double checking of my facts, we calculated the rollback on both the taxes and the CPA for 5 years. And because it's been in ownership for a really long time, we didn't have to do a conveyance tax. And Cynthia came in and paid by check last Friday, and I gave her a partial release of the tax lien to record. So I would like to, it's partial because it's only releasing the lien on the one parcel that sold.
Right.
And that's all she's paid, of course, for rollback taxes. So I would like to entertain a motion
So
to
moved. I gotta cut the lawn.
Well, making us
hungry.
laugh isn't the way to proceed. So this is for the board to approve a partial release of classified agricultural land. It's 4.95 acres that we are releasing of a total of 6.8. So entertaining a motion for that.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, Bruce,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Julie, aye. Thank you. Okay. And there may be another on our docket soon, or I don't know how that's going. Actually, I reached out. There's chapter land owned 429 and 432 Whitney Street, way out when you're almost to Berlin. That's been up for sale for a while. So I just reached out to the ZBA and conservation today to find out where that stands. But Brian has done all the work in advance so that we're just ready to go if we need to do a rollback. So that's fantastic. And then, as you will recall, in April, I asked the board to sign letters, 2 letters of authorization for me. You voted yes, you signed them. I can't find them. And it was before Tiffany and I were at our fabulous state of organization that we're at now, where we we're doing way better than we were in April.
Is that true of Tiffany?
And it's all her. So you know, we're getting on board with like scanning everything, but those 2 letters of authorization are buried in this office somewhere. So I need them signed again. One is to allow me to submit to Gateway. And the other is, so I will read it to you, although I'll have to get like actual real signatures and not just our stamp. Please allow this letter to serve as formal notice that the Northborough Board of Assessors has voted to authorize Principal Assessor Julie Brownlee to sign documents and submit any recapitulation forms on our behalf in the Gateway DLS computer system. So, the other letter is so that I can sign things that come up all the time, whether we've approved or denied them, that I can sign on your behalf with our stamp that we have, and then I initial it, for betterment commitments and payoffs, chapter land applications, chapter land rollback warrants and lien release documents, motor vehicle commitments and abatements, real estate tax exemptions, real estate and personal property abatement offers and denials. So those are the 2 letters that I have put a new date of September 14th on instead of April. Okay, so I'd like to I'll do them one at a time. I'd like to entertain a motion that you authorize me to sign the recapitulation forms.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, Bruce?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Julie, aye. And I'd like to entertain a motion that you allow me to sign these standard forms that we use and approve and deny as I read a couple minutes ago.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, Bruce,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Julie, aye. Thank you very
So,
much.
so Julie, back to the recap.
Yep.
I mean, I know the rules change here and there, but I remember, I don't think we were used to be authorized to let you do it, but hopefully we can, and if we can't, they'll let you know.
Well,
Right.
I can speak to that because Dwayne was here yesterday. In a month or so ago, I did the LA3 with Dwayne, and yesterday we submitted the growth and the LA4. And Jerry called me today and told me he wanted that letter of authorization.
Okay.
Right,
So
but the
keep changing.
recap is a different animal.
Right.
Okay, so do I need to change the wording on this letter?
Or you can try, and they will let you know. If we have to sign, then they will tell you no, that you can't do it. And
No,
Chris and
I was gonna send him this letter after I got you guys to sign it and was gonna try and get your signatures as soon as possible. So should I change the wording? This says, okay, you're right. Okay, so it's not, the recap isn't everything. So what should the wording of this say? To sign documents, including the recapitulation forms on our behalf in Gateway?
I've had 3 years and 3 different answers on that. And
Well, this is Jerry sent me Dan's letter that says exactly this.
okay, well, then that may have been amended because the guidance I had gotten was that we have to manually sign the recap form and we have to sign the what's
Go online to Gateway and sign.
No, physically sign. I think the LA5. I'm not no, Bruce, is it new growth or is it the no, it's the LA5.
I'd have
Okay.
to dig in and look it up. But like I'm saying, I think that if
Well, the
they'll
new
let
growth,
it
the new
go,
growth is what Jerry was asking for,
Yeah.
Yeah, new growth is
and
fine.
the LA4.
but the tax rate recap, that's signed by the town clerk and the accountant,
Right, with the tax
And,
rate and,
finance director and the
right,
Board of Assessors on page 1, right? And it's so it is its own animal. And if they'll let it happen, then it might save a little bit of time. It saves Chris and me from having to go into Gateway and do it at a precise time.
Okay.
I'm just not sure they'll let you. So if they don't let you, then it will override the vote and we'll have to sign it.
right, and we'll have to sign it. But for
Mhm.
now, for the, let me make sure I'm quoting the right thing from Jerry. Yeah, so this letter, the letter is exactly as I read it to you about recapitulation. That's what Jerry sent me that he wants for the LA4.
Again, the LA4, the growth and all that stuff, they are not the recap.
Right. So that's why I asked if we should amend this letter to say to sign documents, including recapitulation forms on behalf of the board, including recapitulation forms, instead of just documents in general.
So the recapitulation, it's one 4-page form, right? And it's unto itself. There's only one recap.
Right. Right.
'Cause it's not-
LA4.
It's a.
I understand that. I'm trying to make the letter be able to do that if it can now.
Yeah.
And if it can, we find out it can't, that's fine. But I need a letter for the LA4.
Right.
I
Yeah,
didn't have that before.
Again, I'd say dump it all in there. It's all in there. It sounds like
Yeah.
you covered all the
Okay.
bases. And if they accept it, they do. I'm just saying they might not on the tax rate recap.
Right. And
And
that,
if they don't, they don't. And then Chris and I have to sign it. That's all.
yeah, no, I agree. I get that.
I just
And
wanted to
that's-
sort of put that little caveat out there that.
Well, yes, and I understand because sometimes a DLS rep has one idea and then their boss has another idea. And I know that happens on different topics, different years with different reps, and so.
Right. The other thing is that Jerry has nothing to do with the tax rate recap. Basically, it's a Bureau of Accounts that is the overseer of that form.
Okay, so,
So
okay,
you really need permission from them on that. Right, because the
Okay.
the BLA they've finished their process before you get to that far, right?
okay, okay,
Mhm.
And so that they don't even have the authority to accept a letter on who can sign the tax rate recap.
okay.
It's their,
He wants an authorization for the LA form.
yeah, you're gonna give it to them.
Okay, fantastic. So, both of you, I can bring the letters to you because I'd like to submit the authorization letter this week so that this is done.
Mhm.
And so that this step is done. And both of you just let me know when you can stop by or I can bring it to you for signature. Okay.
Can I meet you at Darby's?
They're not open when I go to work in the morning, unfortunately. And they're never going to change that. They have the hours they want. Good for
Yeah.
them.
Oh, God, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a good idea, Chris. For
Thank you.
sure. Yeah, I've only been a couple of times, but I know it's a good idea.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
I am totally unavailable on Thursday, but I am pretty flexible on Wednesday, Friday.
Okay.
All right. What time do you open Friday, Julie?
Friday, we open at 7 a.m.
All right, how about I come by Friday morning?
Fantastic.
Wow.
Fantastic.
It may be a drive-by signing.
I'll run out to the parking lot like we did during COVID for all those people. Bruce, do you want to come by tomorrow or I can come by there, whatever you want? Or meet you?
Yeah, or maybe we'll meet in the middle somewhere to try and
Okay.
help you out. Let me look at my calendar and
Absolutely. We can decide that in the morning. Yep.
yeah, I'm not doing
Okay.
7 a.m. though.
I would, but thank you that I don't have to. Okay, so I'd like to move to executive session to review some pending ATP cases. And if moving to executive session pertinent to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, Purpose 7, to comply with or act under the authority of any general or special law or federal grant and aid requirements in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 60, requiring confidentiality. At the conclusion of executive session, the board will adjourn. I'll entertain a motion to enter executive session, please.
So move.
Second,
All in favor, Bruce?
aye.
Chris?
Bye.
Julie? Aye. Thank you. Tiffany will let us know when the recording has stopped.